Track 23.
I think I would argue that many economists favour free trade and some governments see the problems with free trade under certain circumstances. We all know that economics is based on simplified models, and sometimes those simplified models are not useful in explaining the way the real world works, or sometimes there are exceptions to those models. Let's take into account the standard argument for free trade. Okay, that everybody gets better off, more efficiency, we can consume more goods and services. Well, that may be the case, but there may be some people who lose out. Take the very simple argument. We often have two economies with two goods. Okay, and we simplify and then we extend. So say we've got two economies with two goods. We've got a developed country. Extend. So say we've got two economies with two goods. We've got a developed country producing computers and cloth, and we have an underdeveloped country that's trying to produce computers and cloth. Okay, and then we say, well, actually, with free trade, you should specialize in what you're best at or least worst at. Okay, so under that situation, we say, right, to the developed country, you produce computers and sell some computers to the developing country. In the developing country, you focus on cloth and buy the computers for the developed country, and so on. That's our standard model. Okay, and we can see that there's efficiency gains. Ultimately, we should be able to consume more computers and cloth through that process. But let's think what happens there. I'm working in the cloth factory in a developed country. We move from going from no trade to free trade. My country specialises just in computers. What's going to happen? I'm going to lose my job. Okay, and that may be a big concern. Governments may be concerned about workers losing jobs in certain sectors. Now, we could argue in theory that I just need to reallocate my job and become working in computing. It may be very difficult for me to do that. I may be in the wrong part of the country, I may not have the right skills, and so on. Basically, what happens with free trade is that many people gain, and a few people may lose, and they may lose big time. And if we're concerned about those people, we may want to have some transition process. We may be concerned about unfettered free trade.
Track 24.
Okay, so that's case number one. Okay, that some people may lose out, we may be concerned about protecting them. Let's go back to our free trade example. Now we've got our one country specialising in computers and another country specialising in cloth. Now that cloth producing country may say, okay, that's our comparative advantage, cloth, but we don't want to remain cloth producers for the rest of in the future. We want our country to develop and grow. We want to produce a wider range of goods and services, or goods and services that are higher value added, and it will generate higher wages and economic growth. We want to move out of cloth into something else. We want to move out of cloth into automobiles and perhaps into computing in the longer term. How are we going to do that with our comparative advantage just being cloth? We may need to protect certain sectors of our economy to let them grow. Certain sectors of our economy to let them grow. And there's a very good argument in economics called the infant industry argument. Okay, we establish these industries and they're new and young. They cannot compete with the bigger, more established industries in the advanced countries. We need to leave them time to develop and grow, and then they can compete with other countries. So we need to protect those sectors so they can grow and we can have a new comparative advantage in the future. So I think under those circumstances, we can have arguments where you may want to not have unfettered free trade. Have unfettered free trade. Now let's think about advanced countries. Advanced countries arguably mainly focus on free trade and the advantages of free trade. But even here we can have arguments about why you want to want to support or protect certain sectors. This is sometimes called strategic trade theory. Okay, we can identify strategic sectors of the economy. Those sectors may benefit other parts of the economy. It's what economists call externalities. Externalities basically mean a positive externality. Something in one part of the economy may have a positive benefits elsewhere. Okay, or those sectors may generate economies of scale, and so you can, as you protect them, they become bigger and more competitive. Say, for instance, we say aerospace is crucial to have an aerospace industry. Why? Because the knowledge generated in aerospace will go elsewhere, be porous. The ideas generated in aerospace will go into automotive, will go into electrical engineering, and go into other sectors. So if we have a strong aerospace sector, it will benefit the rest of the economy. That may be an argument for protecting that sector under certain benefits elsewhere. Okay, or those sectors may generate economies of scale, and so you can, as you protect them, they become bigger and more. One part of the economy may have a positive benefits elsewhere. Okay, or aerospace will go elsewhere, be porous. The ideas generated in aerospace will go into automotive, will go into electronic. Because the knowledge generated in aerospace will go elsewhere, be porous. The ideas generated in aerospace will go into automotive, will go into electrical engineering, and go into other sectors. So if we have a strong aerospace sector, it will benefit the rest of the economy. That may be an argument for protecting that sector under certain circumstances.